Alright guys, today I'm bringing you a legendary item guide in Borderlands 3, and in this video we'll be looking at the Iridian artifact known as the static charge. The text on the weapon reads, "Shock me like an electric eel." And what's special about this relic is when you slide with it equipped, it builds up static, which allows for your melee to deal shock damage, which can also chain lightning to other nearby enemies when used. The static charge can be obtained through any suitable loot source throughout Borderlands 3, but has an increased chance to drop from the legendary hunt known as Antelope, who is located in Devil's Razor on Pandora. The quickest way I can find to farm Antelope is to use the Roland's Rest fast travel as the spawn point, as from here you can simply jump down to the catcher ride, grab yourself a car and drive in almost a straight short line to Antelope's spawn location. Antelope also has an increased chance to drop the boring gun as well as the impaler, so you may see these drop throughout your farm for the static charge. Firstly, I want to mention that in the footage of me using this artifact, you may notice that when I slide, a beam of lightning can appear that arcs towards nearby enemies. This ability is in no way tied to the special ability of the artifact, and the one you get to drop will most probably not have this ability. The static charge can come in any element, whereby it will have an ability that uses or increases the effectiveness of an element in some way, and you can find out what particular thing your artifact does by looking at the stuff located here on the card of the artifact. Yours may have increased radiation effectiveness or may imbue your slide with another element, but just know that it's a coincidence the secondary ability on my artifact imbues my slide with shock damage also. When I had this drop, I thought it was such a good concept, and at first glance got excited that it could be a possible replacement for having to use a shock grenade to deal with shielded enemies. Unfortunately, when meleeing an enemy, the shock damage dealt is very dismal and does not seem like an effective way to deal with shields. Not even talking about badass enemies who have larger shields. Shielded tinks require at least 3 melees in order to clear the shield, and while the chain shock damage can help with a large group of shielded enemies, the chances you'll be able to get 100% effectiveness from this, which would be to chain lightning to 4 surrounding enemies, as 4 is the highest amount of targets the melee can chain to. A shotgun or grenade would still be a much better choice to clear the shields. With it being a relic, I don't really have much else to say because its use really ends at its special ability. So my opinion is that if the damage was increased and you could see a greater return from meleeing a shielded enemy, it may actually be able to compete. If the array of bonuses that an artifact could get was a lot lower, then I would give you some recommendations on which bonuses to go for, and that's these increases that can be found here on the card. But because there is such a wide variety that can come when this artifact drops, you really just want to go for whatever feels good for you. The particular bonuses that I managed to get on this one weren't too great. Weapon accuracy can help, but an increase to max health isn't really something I was looking for, and increase the cryo damage again. If I was to use this, I'd probably be using corrosive or incendiary weapons, just because once I've dealt with the shields, then I can then use my weapon to deplete their actual health bar. With all that said, I'm sure you would be able to get a much better return from this artifact if you were to have increased melee damage. If you were to read the actual description of the effect on the artifact, then it does say that your attacks do 50% bonus shock damage, so if you were to have a much higher damage in general, then 50% of this would then be a lot higher, and then you'd be able to get a lot more damage onto the shields with the melee. But just because that's so specific and you need a melee build in order to actually make this artifact useful, then I don't really recommend it in that way. But other than that, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you found this useful. Make sure to subscribe for future legendary item guides on my channel, and yeah, see you in the next video.